Welcome to the Notary Complaints Workshop. This is a little bit of a tricky subject, and it's taken me a little time to prepare, but I think it'll be well worth your time to watch what we've got set for you today. Before we get started, I would like to disclaim again that I am not an attorney, I'm not a CPA, I'm not a loan modification or securitization specialist. I'm CJ Holmes. I am a licensed real estate broker in the state of California, and I am just doing my level best to bring you honest and accurate information about what is going on in foreclosure crisis, how you can stop the assault on your property if possible. But please understand that the people like me that are helping others cannot be held liable. We can't tell you, we cannot guarantee anything. We're dealing against banks that are using fraud as a business model. So no matter what we do, even if it's actually legal according to all the laws and statutes, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win. And that's the real horrific situation we find ourselves in today. So please take a look at the disclaimer. It's also on my website. I really hope that whatever you do, you have some success. But I can't be held liable for any loss or damage of any kind because there's just so many unknowns. And also, I really want to warn you, because it's already happening, after this workshop, as we get more information on the website may change. The fact is, the content can just change without notice. We're constantly trying to update and bring you the best. So with that said, let's talk about filing notary complaints. The whole point of the notary complaint is a variety of issues. One is, let's try to stop the forging and the false notarizations. So that's one effort. Another effort is, let's see if we can't postpone a foreclosure auction. Some people have been reporting that it does help. So quick, let's try that if you're in that position facing a foreclosure auction on your property. Now the point is to get as many legal signatures as possible. And then of course filing as many complaints as possible. It's pretty straightforward, but it is fairly intricate in the various places you go to get the information and to file the complaints. So in general, the overall picture of this is to get the legal signatures and then file your complaint of the notary with the Secretary of State. If it's still an active notary, you might be able to file a claim with the bond company. But definitely, you can take the complaint of the notarization to the foreclosure trustee to help postpone an auction date. And then absolutely be sure that you include all of this information in the owner's statement of suspicious documents. That is what I call, let's plaster the planet with the proof of fraud. There's definitely a media blackout, so if every owner actually followed the steps, and I'll just briefly remind you again here in just a minute of where the notary complaint fits in the first basically 6 steps that people can do, then we can actually make copies of these forged documents with proof of forgery, and we can then mail copies out to all the media stations. That's the plan, and it's already being done. So join, step up, let's do it together. So the notary complaint process, briefly, this is the overview, and then I'm going to go point by point. You're going to have to collect the right documents and find the right information. Then you're going to have to get the legal signature of the notary or notaries, and then the legal signature of the signers, because on every document that's notarized, you've got a signer, at least one, maybe more, and a notary. And then you need to go someplace else to get the notary bond information to pursue that avenue, and then filing claims both against the notary with the Secretary of State and against the bond company. So that's the process we're going to walk through today. We're going to start with the documents, and then we're going to go to the signatures for the notary, and then the signatures for the signers, and then the notary bond information, and then how do we file claims. So Again, I recommend you always start on the first page of the foreclosure defense page on my website. Go to foreclosure defense, and it's the first document right here in the list, right there. This is what's showing, and it's the 11 defense considerations. And as I scroll down, you can do this yourself while you're watching the live stream, this information. You'll notice that the first strategy is the OCC complaint with a workshop, then the qualified written request letters with a workshop so that you can figure out how to do that. Here's some help for filing, submitting letters to keep people from hounding you if you want to do that, if that's a problem. Then getting the foreclosure documents and analyzing those documents with a workshop, a couple of those, helping you figure that stuff out. The next one right here, number 5 currently, which hopefully it may change, you can never tell, but right now it's number 5. This is focusing on the forged document signatures with notary complaints and journal entries. And what I've got here is a link to that specific page. But before we go there, I want to just highlight what I've said here about this process. I want to bring your attention, and I recommend that you actually listen to what I say. This link right here on forgery actually will click you over to YouTube, and it's about a 5-minute little diatribe that I did last June at the state capital of California in Sacramento, really pointing out that robo-signing is forgery. That is the point. All of these documents, particularly those that were notarized with forged signatures, that is forgery and fraud. That is the point. And that is why I take this so seriously, and I'm just spending as much time as I can find to fight back against this on behalf of all homeowners in the nation. This is an assault on the middle class, on every property owner, everywhere in the country, and we need to rally up and fight back. So the suspicious signatures page, we'll look at that in a minute, but that's where I'm actually finding people are sending me their documents, and I highlight all the names, and then I collect all those with the same names, and then discover that the signatures are different, and so then I'm uploading them to the website so that you have access to those kinds of suspicious signatures too. So please, when you get your documents, send them to me, email them to me, fax them to me. I will include them in the big stack of documents I'm constantly going through to expand what I call the current robo-signer list. Many people have lists from yesteryear. We want the ones right now, and we want proof. We want a variety of signatures on these same names so that there's no doubt about it. There's still robo-signing, which is in violation of the consent judgment and the OCC complaints. So and by the way, you might want to read this little article here. This is a deposition, and this was done last year, a year ago in 2012. This deposition actually said, this person stated, and the result is that all signatures on all documents coming out of Recon Trust are forged, signed by unknown persons of unknown times. Guess what? They're still doing it. They're still foreclosing. They still have thousands and thousands of homes facing foreclosure auction right now, all over the nation. So it doesn't seem to matter that one person gets a judgment or stops them. They are just like a headless monster run amok. And this is why just this week I actually did my presentation to the Attorney General. I live streamed it, so now it's an archived video. It's right here, and I recommend you take it's 35 minutes. You look at the information and the documentation I found of the violations on Recon Trust foreclosure fraud. Turns out all the notices of default are void, and yet they are foreclosing. This is an unacceptable crime against us and the property owners in this country. So let's go now to our notary complaint page. This is a specific notary complaint. You'll see you can go directly to that from the foreclosure defense. It's right there, number 3. And on this, I have actually outlined the order of what we're going to do. The very first thing you do is collect the evidence. And then it just depends on who your notary is. So it takes a little bit of thought, but it turns out that there's only basically 3 types of documents that you're going to find that are used in the foreclosure process in a deed of trust state. There will only be 2 types in a mortgage state. One is an assignment is notarized. One is, and this is what an assignment looks like. I'm just going to click on these so that you can see. It just says assignment in the title. And you'll notice that there's a notarization down here. See, this notarization. So each document on your property that's recorded, when you go into the recorder's office, if there's no notary, then you're not going to be able to use that for a notary complaint. Makes sense. So a trustee substitution just says substitution of trustee. And you'll notice that these are all notarized. A trustee substitution is not used in mortgage states. So judicial states with mortgages will only have assignments that are notarized, and they will have a trustee's deed on sale. That's if the property's already been sold. And so if you've already lost your house, then go in and get the notarized documents of before the sale. That would be the assignment and trustee substitutions if you're in a deed of trust state, non-judicial state, and the trustee's deed on sale. Those are the notaries that you can still look at and file complaints or use in this process. I'm going to just show you how a notice of default is not notarized. You'll have to go down there, typically 2 or 3 pages. How do you like that, RoboSig? This is just completely outrageous. I have looked at properties that have no notarized signatures at all. They have a notice of default and several notices of sale, not one notarized signature. Anybody could be signing those, and this is what's so outrageous. We call it a taking, an illegal taking of the property, because even though these documents are false or robo-signed or forged or created in fake signatures and fake beneficiaries, they're still allowed to foreclose. This is the outrageousness of the Department of Justice at the federal level, the United States, led by Eric Holder. And he just said on Monday, that would be March 11th, we have him on record in video stating the banks are too big to prosecute. So welcome to the DOJ throwing us under the bus. That's the point. So as we go down looking, you must go to the recorder's office and get these documents. You need to get the ones that are notarized, basically for this strategy. Now, in California, if you're going to file a notary complaint, you must have a certified notary document, a notary oath. We're talking about we get the legal signatures. So a certified copy costs more than non-certified. In other states, you're not required to have a certified copy. So depending on where the notary is it in Texas? Was it Louisiana? Is it California? And is it expired or not? Is the commission a past date or a future date? The commission expiration date. So if it's a future date, then you can actually viably file a claim, both at the Secretary of State and with the notary bond. If it's an expired commission, you can't file the bond claim, and you can't file the same kind of notary complaint. You can still get a signature, a notary oath signature, which is a legal signature of the notary, to compare and use that for forgery, as proof of forgery or fraud. But some of these other notary complaints won't be available to you. That's just going to be the way it is. So rush down to the recorder's office, look at your documents, look at which state and what date is the expiration of the commission. If you've got a valid note, I'm going to assume that you've got a valid notary complaint, and I'm going to assume at this point it's California, because California is one of the more complicated states to work with. So this is what a notary oath looks like. When you order it from the Secretary of State, You have to order it, and I've got a sample of the document that orders it. I'll show that in a minute. This is what the notary oath looks like when you get it back. You'll see it'll say which county, when it started, what the name of the notary is, and this signature right here on the application for the notary is its legal signature. That is the signature that this notary is supposed to use whenever they're notarizing documents. And you'll notice here that with California, you get nothing about the bond company. It's different with Texas. I'll go over that in a minute. So in California, if it's not a certified notary oath, you just get the paper. If it's certified, you get this paper, and on the back is stamped a certified. It's a purple stamp. The same with the recorder's office. They stamp the backs of the document that they are certified. So this is what the document looks like if you're going to send a request to the Secretary of State in California for that notary's oath. And so you'd put the current date. I've just put in red on the sample where you would change and fill in your name and address, of course. The rest of it is just boilerplate, and the document that's editable is downloadable, and I didn't put anything in red on that. So you can just fill in your information. In this case, we're asking for a certified notary oath. And so you're enclosing a money order. You'll have to have a money order for $6. And you would fill in the notary's name as it appears in the website, in their database. I'll show you in a minute where to get that. The commission name and number, but of course you're going to have that on your document, so you can fill this out on your document. And then your name, send it in. And I would include a signed, an envelope, self-addressed envelope to be sent back to you so that they can just get the notary oath, certify it, stick it in the envelope, mail it back to you. If you want to follow the mail of that, then you can certify the request, and you can track it online with the USPS. Now, in Texas, it turns out that you can just request these by email. So here's the email, and just say, I want to request the notary oath of this person, and you could say which notary, and from your document, what the commission is, license number if it's stated. Many of the states do not have even license numbers, but in Texas you can request that way, and then what comes back to you is the application, the notary signature, and the bonding company. You get everything in back all at once from them. Now, if you want to get a legal signature of the signer that signed this document, see, let's look here at the substitution of trustee, for example. So in this case, Kelly Boswell is the notary, so you would be sending a request to the Secretary of State in Texas by email asking, and you'll notice that this notary's license is not expired. It's September 19, 2014. So you have a chance. So request that from that Secretary of State in Texas. But then to get Rick Juarez's signature, to get this, you have to go to the notary and ask for a copy of the journal entry. The notaries are supposed to keep a book. I know they do in California. I'm not positive about every state. If a state does not require the notary to keep a log, what we call as a journal, then there is no way other than just collecting documents that, in this case, Rick Juarez signed over and over and over, and I've got quite a few of them, to see if the signature varies a lot. And if it does, then who knows what the real one is. That is the point. When there's multiple different signatures on the same name, it is impossible to know unless you can get some journal entries. And of course, I swear that as more and more owners do this, and they send me their journal entries for the same names, I bet the journal entries will be different too. They will have a different journal entry from others. And so the point is, whether you get it or not, the whole point is to prove the forgery on the signatures as best you can, and to file complaints, file complaints, file complaints. So, getting legal signatures from the notary that are called journal entries. And so, in California, to do this, you have to send this to the notary. So now you need the notary's address. And this link gives you the California's, they update it every week. This is their website. But if you go here, you see it says online notary public listing. So go to the online listing, and then you'll come up with a big spreadsheet. There's thousands. And you can find your notary and the address that the Secretary of State has on file. And so with that information, you would go to this Word document. See, fill out the journal entry request. So here's a Word document you can download. I'm going to show you the example. Here's the journal request example in red. So you put the date in, you put in your name and address, you would put in the notary name. I've just filled this out for Shannon based on a specific assignment. I'll show you that in a minute. So we found this address on the Secretary of State's website, the commission number, the expiration date, and the assignment of the deed of, it happens to be an assignment for this property address, and this is the one that we're looking at. This is the assignment. I picked one that for the assignment of mortgage, and you'll notice that the next thing we do on the document is, here's the boilerplate, we fill in it's an assignment, and the parties to the assignment of deed of trust, we list them. So these are in red, and these will be changed according to what's on your document, whichever one you're asking, whether it's an assignment, or this would be a substitution of trustee, or this would be a trustee's deed on sale. You would fill in the right property, the right document type, the right address, and then the contacts. So let's just quickly look at where I got that information. You'll notice up here, interestingly enough, that the recording was requested by Bank of America. So we put that down. And we put down when requested mail to CoreLogic, we add that. We put down here who is the assignee, Wells Fargo Bank, National Association. I didn't fill out the rest of that title. And if you've watched analyzing your recorded documents, you'll discover that that title is a fake beneficiary. It is illegal. It's impossible for Wells Fargo as trustee for the holders of Morgan Stanley ABS Capital 1 Inc. Trust 2007-HH4 to be the beneficiary of anything. But nevertheless, moving on with the notary complaint, you'll notice we've added MERS because they're on there. We've added Malik Baserto, that who happens to be who we're trying to get the journal entry for. But then there's other signers, Beverly Brooks, Louis Roldan, Christopher Herrera, and then of course we're trying to get this from Shannon Stieg. And so you'll notice here's all the list of these names, and then of course the rest of the boilerplate. They have, Shannon as a notary has 15 business days to get this journal entry back to you. And then you take the journal entry you're asking for Malik Baserto, and you check that with the Malik Baserto signature right here. It turns out I already have a journal entry for Malik Baserto from a contact. It's already linked to his information on the Suspicious website, Suspicious Signatures webpage, and you'll note when you look at that it's completely different from this. So that's something that you would include in your notary complaint. I've got a complete example I'm going to show you here in just a minute. So when we go back to our notary complaint page, we've now done the journal entry. We've sent for the notary oath so that we can get a legal signature of the notary signature, a legal proof of what that should look like. We're now sent to the journal entry so we can get the signer's signature. And when you get that journal entry back, you may or may not get some other information. You may get a driver's license number. You may get a thumbprint. So if you got a driver's license number, then it is possible to file a request for that person's signature from the DMV. And so that's what this looks like. Here's the form that you can fill out, sending it to the DMV to ask for someone's signature. It's right there, cleverly linked for you, because the whole point I'm trying to do is make this as simple as possible so people will understand and try to follow through. It's complicated enough if you have to go find all these websites. I try to link them so you don't have to hunt. Now, once you get this information back, so this process takes some time. You have to track it, you have to log it, I'd recommend you get a little notebook. You write down what you did, because after 2 or 3 weeks goes by, it's hard to remember. But once you get this information back, let's say, and in the process, you've been actually working towards, how do I get ready to file the complaint? How do I file the bond? You need to go get that bond information. So while you're waiting, the bond information in California is kept at the county level, and it's not recorded. It's kept at the county clerk's office. So you need to call the county clerk. So go to the website, go to Google, type in the county clerk of whatever county, Los Angeles County, and up will come their phone number. Get on the phone, get your credit card ready, and when the clerk's office answers, say, I would like to get the bond information for this notary. They will ask you for the credit card information, the notary information, and the commission number, the name and commission number, and then they will send you this information by mail, and they'll charge you for it. I suspect most counties are very similar, so go to the county clerk, go to the county's website, call them up, and just say, I want the bonding information for this notary. What do I do? And they will step you through that process. That's going to take some time too, so you might as well be getting that notary bond information now, so that when you get the oath and the signatures back and you've been prepping on your complaint, you can move forward with the bond complaint, particularly right after the complaint to the Secretary of State, because then you can include that to the bond company, and it should give your claim more clout. So as we go down to, this is the point. If either the notary signature that you get back from the Secretary of State looks very different from other signatures, that's one. So now someone is using the notary stamp, claiming to be this person, Shannon, and isn't. Or if all the signatures in the notary look fine, they're all the same signatures, who is that notary notarizing? So if the signer is a bunch of different signatures, then that means that notary is notarizing forged signatures. That's false notarization. It's like bearing false witness. It's one of the 7 deadly sins, actually, if you think about it like that. And so either way, we try to package our complaints. So you get the signatures back, you get the notary signature back, the signer signatures back, and in the meantime, you start looking at the suspicious documents page to see what are those, what does that look like? What do others have for signers on these documents? I'm going to show you a collection that we've put together against Shannon Stieg, happens to be this notary. So here's a notary complaint form in PDF if your Word document doesn't work. I'm just going to quickly show you what that looks like. This is just the blank statement from California. This is what it looks like. Hopefully you'll be able to use the Word document, but if not, you can print this and write on it or type on it. The Word document you can download and fill that out yourself. It's a blank document that you can use. This is what a filled out document looks like. Before we go there, here's the Texas notary complaint form in Word document format. So when you go to the Texas notary Secretary of State by email and get that information back, then you can use this form to file an official complaint with the Secretary of State in Texas. This is what a California notary complaint looks like. This is an example. So this was using the Word document from California, filled out from the person's name. They want to know, who are you? okay? Who are you complaining? So you give them all your personal information, and then the information about the notary public, and then the nature of the complaint. And then at the bottom, they want you to respond to these questions. None of them are basically material because you're filing a complaint on a previously recorded document that somebody else notarized and recorded. And then they want your signature and your date. So this is the complaint, and what we've done, as I show you as we go through this, we've actually, in fact, I'm going to use this in the PDF format because then I can actually click through the pages for you. We've actually have exhibit pages that are included so that we make it very easy to understand. Let's recognize that when you file a complaint, it's going to land on some person's desk. They are already overloaded with work. Their budget's been cut back. They don't want to do any thinking, okay? It's typical. So let's not make them. Let's do all their thinking for them. So what we've done, you'll notice that the statement is very clear and plain, and then there's an exhibit. And then, as I'm just going to click, I've got exhibit pages. So they can just flip through this document. Oh, there's Exhibit A. Oh, there's Exhibit B. Oh, there's Exhibit. I don't have to think. I don't have to hunt. I don't have to figure anything out. It's just obvious. So do your homework. This is your assignment. So do a good job. Type it. Make it easy to read. And so here is the question. Here's a statement. Shannon Steig's signature on this assignment of deed of trust recorded in the property 3/6/2012 does not match her notary oath signature. Boom. The assignment may be forged with false notarization. See, we don't have to make them come to a conclusion. We tell them what the conclusion is. So here's the exhibit. Obviously, the certified copy of Shannon's notary oath. And to submit this complaint, you need the certified copy of that assignment. So if you're going to complain on any of these non-expired notary oaths in California, for sure, you'll need a certified copy of that assignment. It's going to cost you a few more bucks at the recorder's office, but go ahead and get a certified copy when you get your docs. Otherwise, don't pay for certification if you don't need it. That's my recommendation. So number 2, so we're now numbering. Okay, so the first is, well, the signature doesn't match the oath and this particular document. The second complaint, Shannon's notary signature does not match other recorded documents. Now you go to the Suspicious Signatures website and you'll see that there's several documents with Shannon Steig's signature on them and they don't match. And so I've listed what documents they are. Now, if we are to come down, that's Exhibit B. So let's just take a quick look at Exhibit B. So what we've included in this package is, here's one that she signed on Malik. See, there's a signature, Shannon Steig. Here's one she signed, oh, another one with Malik. Well, that's a different looking signature. Here's one she signed, oh, another Malik, another signature. Here's one, oh, that's Malik too, and another signature. So we've included all of these documents in the complaint to the Secretary of State. We're going to make it real easy for them to look at this information and go, yep, looks like we've got a problem, because that's what we want. We want them to agree with our complaint. Number 3, so now, because we noticed, as I showed you, that Shannon has notarized several different signatures of Malik, well, that's classic false notarization, notarizing robo-signatures. So now we're going to point that out. So the first 4 documents in Exhibit B include 4 notarizations by Shannon for different Malik Baserto signatures. And then we're going to have another complaint. The signatures for Malik that Shannon notarized do not match each other, or a notary journal entry for him. Someone sent me one. So when I include these original signatures of notaries and these journal entries for signers, you can use those yourself. Use them in your complaint. And I'm working on it. These are how many documents I've got right now of people that have sent me their documents. So I'm working on it. And I'm confident as they come flowing in, I'll keep trying as best I can to keep connecting them and updating them on the website so that more and more and more people can file these complaints with authority, knowing that what they've got is forged signatures and false notarizations on their documents. So, number 5, Shannon Stieg notarized a Ben Peck signature that does not match other notarized signatures for him. So you see what we've taken on that one assignment. You take the notary and you look at everything they notarized. And if they notarized another significantly forged signature like Malik Baserto's classic, Lauren Stone is classic, every notary that notarized any of these documents that I have linked on the website, on my suspicious signatures, then everything they've done, they've notarized forged signatures. Boom! Everything else they've done is suspect. So you'll see how this, you start with one and how it just grows and grows and grows. Because you've got Shannon notarizing Malik, but then you have other notaries notarizing Malik. So Malik is obviously a robo-signature. So every notary involved is subject to a complaint and a bond claim like this, if they're still unexpired, if the commission is unexpired. So then in this complaint, at the time it was written, Shannon Stieg has not responded to my request. So if you've sent out a journal entry and that notary doesn't respond, stick it in the complaint. Here's my journal request and there's no response. So that's a violation of law. You're building your case against that particular notary. Does that make sense? I think so. And if not, watch this again, it will. So back to doing the complaint. You file the complaint. Now, once you've got that complaint filed, the whole point is you may probably still facing auction, a foreclosure auction's coming up to take your house. So while you wait for that to be adjudicated, in California I've been told it's up to 18 months to get any kind of a response from the Secretary of State regarding your complaint. So keep reminding the foreclosure trustee legal department that you have an outstanding notary complaint and they need to stop setting sale dates. Just tell them to stop. Tell them to cease and desist until this complaint is adjudicated. The point is, if they foreclose and they take the property before you have an adjudication on the notary complaint, it could be wrongful foreclosure. You get the judgment back from the Secretary of State saying, you're right, Shannon Stieg, boom, commission has been revoked. Your claims were right. Now, that foreclosure is definitely wrongful and false. So, write to the foreclosure trustee, call them, get legal on the department, send this information to them, and use it to help postpone your auctions. That is one of the major reasons, besides filing a notary bond. You may be able to actually get paid on this claim. I know people that have. So do it. File your claims. File your notary bond claims. So let's talk a little bit more about that. You submit the complaint by email, typically. You need to find out who the bonding company is. So once you've got the bonding company, then you can look up their website and it says contact us. And so typically, if you have a claim, it'll just be an email, and so you can fill out your claim. And I recommend you make that a pretty strong case. Because then, if your case is strong enough and they feel you have a case, they will probably send you a forms or paperwork that you can fill out, which you can do so, return, and depending on the claim, you may get some kind of a payment. Now, in California, the notary bond is $15,000. And so depending on how many claims, or if the bond has already been paid, if the bond has already been paid, you're not going to get anything. You can file your claims all day long, but the bond has been paid. That's it. That's the limit that the bonding company is going to pay out for claims. if no one has claimed against that notary yet, and you build a good enough case, you may get the entire bond. But let's say 5 people submitted a claim, similar claims in the bonding company's estimation. Out of the 15,000, they would pay everybody $3,000. So it can't hurt to file. It can't hurt to try. You don't know what you might get, but you might get something. And when you get a payout, that should be something against the foreclosure trustee, saying, they agreed with me. This notary was a false notarization. You cancel my foreclosure right now. Whether you can get them to do it or not, I don't know. You can try. It can't hurt to try. Everything we're doing, and again, you have to remember that the foreclosure trustee is a third party sort of running over here, headless, just doing what they do. And when you try to talk to a master servicer who may or may not have sold off the servicing rights to some third party, so if it's a B of A and they've sold off their servicing to NationStar or Ocwen, who's like have offshore operations and are not even under the auspices of the OCC, they've fragmented everything, making it so much more difficult for you and I to get any kind of justice or to try to get a grip or any kind of leverage to stop these fraudulent foreclosures. I'm just encouraging everybody, please go to your recorder's office, get your documents, file every complaint you possibly can that you have any justice doing, and then please take that information, and I'm going to direct you right back to the foreclosure defense page, because I want you to tie this into what we said from the beginning, and that's item number 6, the owner's statement of suspicious documents. This statement is what I believe the only thing that people have left to break the black hole in the media. They're the blackout. They will not publish foreclosure information. They're told not to. They can't do it. The reporters are not allowed. That's what they're telling us. So what we can do is take this statement, fill it out, the notary complaints, the forged signatures, all of that is part of this statement of suspicious documents. And then we send that original out to the DA, the sheriff, the local recorder, the local supervisors. Then I highly recommend you redact your name and property address off of the documents, because no one needs to know it's really you specifically. What they need to know is that everything is forged and fraudulent and complaints have been filed. Once you do that, make as many copies as you can afford and send them to every media station on the planet. CBS, CNBC, ABC, Fox News, Huffington Post, your local newspaper, the Chronicle, San Francisco Chronicle, the Journal, the Wall Street Journal. Send them everywhere. As more and more of us around the nation do this, we take our complaints, we take the proof of forgery and fraud that we've got on our documents, we package that up, and we send them out. Maybe when they get 100 of these packages, maybe when they get 1,000, maybe when they get 10,000, I don't know. Maybe somebody will break the news that we have a foreclosure crisis on hand. So thank you very much for watching. This is pretty much the summary of the notary complaint process: getting the legal signatures of the notaries, the legal signatures of the signers, getting the bond information, filing those complaints, and then including them with the owner's statement of suspicious documents and using it as best as possible to postpone any auctions. Thank you for watching. This is CJ Holmes, founder of Homeowners for Justice, signing off.